Now, going to our top story when it comes to Canada, it is this Canadian-US trade relations. And the negotiators are back at the table today, meeting their US counterparts to discuss essentially what could take place to prevent the 50% tariff that President Trump says will go into force on August 19th. Well, this is an intense effort to prevent the president's threats when it comes to the tariffs on yet another group of Canadian products. So now it has been revealed from Ottawa that there's no breakthrough just yet, but Ottawa says that the recent discussions have been constructive and continue to push for a comprehensive settlement covering both the proposed duties and the existing sectors that the tariffs will affect. Now, the latest negotiation sessions come just 8 days before the tariffs are scheduled to take effect on August 19th. And the threatened, when it comes to duties, well, they'll reportedly cover approximately $20 billion, that's US dollars, in Canadian exports, including products previously protected by CUSMA. Now, Canada is seeking relief from existing US tariffs affecting steel, aluminum, automobiles, and lumber. Now, Trade Minister Dominic LeBlanc described last week's Washington, D.C. discussion as, in his quotes, constructive and detailed. Now, Canada's negotiating efforts include Chief Trade Negotiator Janice Charest and the Ambassador Mark Wiseman. Now, Ottawa has presented detailed proposals aimed at resolving the current disputes and modernizing the Canada-US-Mexico trade relations. Now, the media reports that have come out in DC as well as in Ottawa, they suggest that Canada could consider concessions involving automobile counter tariffs as well as dairy import quotas and the return of American alcohol to provincial stores, like in Ontario, will be at the LCBO. Now, these proposals have not been officially confirmed, but this is what has been rumored that's come out from these meetings that are taking place between Ottawa and Washington, D.C. Now, Prime Minister Mark Carney says retaliation remains available if Washington proceeds with new tariffs. Now, there's no agreement or postponement of the August 19th deadline that has been announced by President Trump. Now, the background on this is that Canada and the United States have been negotiating, and this has been expanding over a series of American trade measures where Canadian steel, aluminum, and automotive exports are already facing sector-specific duties, while the newest threat would extend to a 50% tariff to additional Canadian products. Now, CUSMA, which is the trade agreement between the three countries, United States, Canada, and Mexico, remains legally in force until 2036, but its current joint review has become intertwined with what is happening now with the broader tariff negotiations, right? So there was the July 1st deadline where it was, where CUSMA was supposed to be renewed for 16 years. Now that deadline came and went with the United States saying that they're not interested, which means it pushes CUSMA negotiations for an annual review. Now, Ottawa wants a comprehensive agreement rather than what would be a narrow arrangement that leaves major Canadian industries exposed. So now the Canadian government says its proposals are designed to protect workers, farmers, businesses, and supply chains. But when it comes to provincial participation, well, that's also necessary for concessions when it comes to American alcohol, which is a liquor distribution that falls largely under provincial control. So essentially, it means Ottawa cannot force the province of Ontario to put American alcohol back on the shelves. But this is one of the major issues. Now, negotiations are expected to continue almost continuously, right, until the August 19th deadline. And the key signals to this to watch that we're watching are whether Washington postpones the tariffs or grants exemptions for CUSMA compliant goods, or perhaps accepts a broader package covering sector duties and Canadian concessions in exchange. Now, this repeated meetings indicate that both the governments are still looking for maybe an off ramp, but the timetable now favors Washington. Well, because Washington, United States, is Canada's biggest customer. About 72% of Canadian exports go to the United States. So really, it's Canada that has the most to lose. And Canada is facing mounting pressure to offer concessions before the deadline. And this is a way that it seems like a leverage that the United States is trying to pull on Canada, well, more specifically, the Trump administration. Now, Ottawa's challenge is to secure a meaningful relief for its largest export industries without making politically costly concessions that would essentially delay another tariff threat down the road, which we know is an unpredictable measure when it comes to President Trump.